was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on the gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain, I ingest, I retain, assess and
What's happening, ladies and gents? So welcome to episode number 72 of the KDH Podcast, second one in person, and we're here with Cam Cooney. How are you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. I always love to be awkward. How are you?
Yeah,
You've just been
exactly.
chatting
Starting it.
Yeah, just right before it.
Always,
you need
always.
to do it though.
Yeah,
you need
exactly.
to mention it as well, man.
It's like,
So basically, I've got Cam on because I know that you guys, if you've been following me, if you haven't, if you don't know, well, you know now. I started getting into meditation a good couple of months ago, and I started going to Cam, and I worked with himself, and basically he led me into becoming Zen as fuck. So that's where I'm at now. Now I'm pushing meditation on everyone. No, I'm only joking. I'm not. But mate, could you just give us a bit about like a bit of an intro about yourself, where you're at, who you are, and then we'll kind of go from there, mate. So
yeah, sure, man. So I'm Cam Cooney. I'm a meditation teacher here in Glasgow. I'm originally from Australia. I have my own meditation studio here in Glasgow. I teach online. I do retreats around Scotland as well. And yeah, I've been a meditation teacher, fully qualified since 2019 now. Previous to that, I'd been meditating since I was 19. 27 now. And I came across meditation probably similar to you. And a lot of people here in the West came to meditation. Back in Australia, I was a tradesman, and I left school quite early, about 15, went part-time about 14. I hated school, and I was quite an anxious and angry teenager. And I didn't really enjoy much of my life, to be honest with you. I was a very, as I said, angry and anxious sort of teenager, and I kind of suppressed a lot of my emotions. I used a lot of drink and drugs to kind of suppress those. Lived for the weekend, hated, Monday to Friday and the grind and all that sort of stuff. And then just partied from like Friday to Sunday, do you know what I mean? And started again. I was kind of caught in that rat race. And when I was 19, I was working on a roof one morning, and I was working with another guy. And we needed to get some tools out of the van, and from the roof, I walked over to the van, and as I stepped onto the top of the ladder slipped, and I fell and broke my back, and I crushed my L1 vertebrae, and I was very, very lucky to be able to walk away from that. And I went through rehab for about 5 to 6 months, slowly sort of building up my strength again, and I was off work, obviously. And in this 5 to 6 months, shit hit me really hard. Like all those sort of emotions and the anger, the anxiety that I was suppressing, and that unfulfillment that I had in my life with what I was doing was like smack bang in my face. All the things that I was doing to kind of suppress those emotions, I wasn't able to do because I spent most of it fucking laying on my back, and I couldn't go and see my mates. I couldn't play football, couldn't do all these sorts of things. And I really suffered through that. And as I came towards the end of my rehab and got the all clear to go back to work on light duties, I was finding it really, really, really overwhelming. And while I was driving to a job in my first week back to work, I was driving to a job one morning, and the GPS was taking me to this particular job, right? And I was driving along the road, and the GPS was telling me to turn left in the road. The road was really, really busy, and I couldn't turn because traffic. And you guys will know, like, the GPS is like the old school one. It was like, turn left, turn left, turn left. And I was like I could feel the anxiety, like really, like all the emotions kind of bubbling up. Can't turn left, can't turn left. I was starting to shake a little bit. And as I missed the turn off to turn left, the GPS started screaming at me. And it was like, turn right, turn right, turn left, turn right, turn right, as I was recalibrating. And in the moment of that kind of screaming at me, the traffic being busy, me just feeling really, really overwhelmed, just exploded. And just the emotions I'd have been suppressing for so long just bubbled to the surface, and the lid just came off. And I had like a full-on mental breakdown. I pulled over. I was physically sick. I was shaking. I was crying. And it was just all these emotions that I was just holding on to and just trying to, just suppress, and just came to the surface and just exploded. And I was there for about half an hour, 45 minutes, just kind of just sitting there, just going through it. And once I kind of came towards the end of that and started to settle down a little bit, I just got back in my car, and I was like, fuck the job. I'm not going back to the job. I went back to my office, and luckily I went back to my office, and my boss was also my football coach, long-term family friend. He knew me quite well. He'd known me from a young age. And I sat in his office and I just broke down in front of him. I was just like, I can't do this, man. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. I just feel like I don't have any happiness. And I just feel like I'm constantly angry, anxious. I don't know how to socialize. I just feel like a fucking wreck. And he was like to me, Cam, fucking hell, mate. Like, you need to go and get yourself sorted. Like, you're a fucking mess. Look at you. In a compassionate way. Like, in some roundabout, compassionate kick up the ass, like go sort yourself out. But that's what I needed, you know what I mean? And from there, I went to the doctors, literally he's like, just don't even worry about work today. Just go to the doctors and see what they say. And I went to my doctors. I remember sitting in the doctor's room, like, just waiting, just like, feet was tapping here, scratching this, fingers, bite my nails, everything. It was a fucking jittery mess. And I went into the doctors, and I had a history with going to the doctors, like about my anxiety and stuff like that, and some, past issues that I'd had. And he was just like to me, yeah, okay, like, from what you've been going through, breaking your back and stuff like that, it's a lot of stuff going on in your life. You're suffering about a depression at the moment. And what we can do is we can give you these tablets, and they were antidepressants. And I'd vowed to myself from a very, very young age that I would never touch antidepressants. And that was because I'd seen the nasty side effect of them in someone very close to me, someone that I love. I'd seen literally antidepressants just turn people into zombies. And I had always said, I don't want to touch those. And like at 19, I was very stuck with this, like, here, take these. They're your only option, from the doctor who I'm supposed to be looking up to. And I mean, he was just doing his job, and from there, I went home and I just broke down again. And I was just like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, do I take these? Do I just fucking, just keep suppressing it and just allowing it to come up? And I literally Googled how to be happy. That's what I put into Google. That's the point I was fucking at. And I was just kind of power scrolling through Google and came across an article that was like, top 10 things to do to be happy in 2014. And it was like, your classics of like, drink more water, get some sunlight, go to the gym, exercise, hang out with your friends, and all, like, listen to music, all that sort of stuff. And number 8 on that list was meditate. Now, I had an instant stereotype of what meditation was. Like, I knew fuck all about meditation, exactly that. Bald head, orange robes, sitting like this, exactly as you said, like, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. I will look up a meditation class. And I looked up a meditation class, and I found one starting that Wednesday, and it was like a Buddhist mindfulness class. So it was like the most classic fucking meditation class you could probably go to. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna go to it. Like, starting this Wednesday, I might as well give it a crack. Like, what else have I fucking got to do? And I didn't tell anyone I was going to this. I didn't tell my family, didn't tell my friends, especially did not tell the fucking fellas at the work site, because they would have fucking ripped the piss out of me if they knew I was going to a meditation class. So yeah, like, came around to Wednesday, I was still feeling like shit. And I remember going to this class, and it was about 45 minutes away from where I lived. Drove there, and as far as like everyone else thought I was maybe going to football train or going to the shops or whatever, just went to this meditation class. And I remember getting there, it was like this, this nice big building, nice garden and stuff like that. And I parked literally in the front corner next to the front door. And I was like, right, when I go in, I don't know what the fuck's going to be going on in there. In my head, as I said, like, orange robes, bald head, herbal tea, all that sort of shit. And I walked in through the front door. Classic. It was this lady, and she was a Buddhist, and she had shaved head, orange robes on, and I'm like, fucking hell, this is like a classic stereotype. What the fuck am I getting myself in for? She's like, come on in. She's like, come on, take a seat. And I was like, 6 rows or something. There was already people in there. They were in the front 2 rows, mingling, chatting. And I was like, back row, back corner, and closest to the exit. And I was like, this gets fucking weird. I'm out of here. And she's like, do you want some herbal tea? And I'm like, fucking, of course there's herbal tea. Like, and I'm just sitting in the back again, just, twitching, all sorts. And yeah, she started the meditation class, and, it was about an hour long, 45 minutes to an hour long. She was just talking about sort of anxiety, meditation for anxiety and stuff like that. And what she was talking about was resonating. I was like, that's exactly how I feel, and she's like, right, we'll do a guided meditation. And she's like, just close your eyes. And she went through the guided meditation with the whole class. And it must have been only like 10, 15 minutes long, right? And yeah, 10, 15 minutes later, I opened my eyes, and I just remember being like, oh, fuck. Wow, I feel fucking wicked. I felt like I had like a weight off my shoulders, and my chest, like bricks had just fucking fallen away. I felt like really light in my chair, like that jitteriness that I was having, you know, my leg bouncing, my, you know, picking my fingers, biting my nails. I'm just like, I'm comfortable in this chair right now, you know, and I feel really relaxed. And I just felt like, you know what, I could fucking listen to this whole class. And there was like 2 meditations in the class, and I was like, you know, fuck, I'm gonna stay for the rest of it. And I did. I stayed for the whole class, and I just remember like walking out and just being like, oh, fuck. Shoulders rolled back, you know, my chin had come up, you know, as I walked out of the classroom. And as I walked out of the classroom, I was just like, it's just a really fucking nice day out here. You know, I could see the sunlight, I could hear like the birds singing in the trees. And I was just like, fuck. And that sounds corny as fuck, but I was enjoying that from a point within myself. And as I walked out and got into my car and slowly pulled out, drove out to the road. And as I said, it was about 45 minutes away from where I lived. And I, as a 19-year-old, was a very erratic driver. You know, I used to go red lights all the time, speeding fines, you know, family was always taking my points and all the rest of it. And this time I just drove home, and along the sort of motorway or highway, you want to call it, I was driving behind a learner plater, like pretty much the whole time. It wasn't until the turn off to my house, I was like, oh shit, I was just driving behind a learner plater. Whereas like fucking 3 hours ago, Cam definitely would have been fucking, you know, hooning around past them, fucking learners, fucking get off the road sort of thing. Road rage. And that was completely gone. And I just felt, fuck. So I got home, and I used to live in a granny flat out the back of our house, right? My family lived in the main house, and I would always just kind of like come in through the main door, straight through the house, out the back door to my granny flat. Wouldn't say anything to anybody. And like this night, I kind of, you know, pulled up, came in the front door, turned left, and sat in the lounge room with my family, who sit there like, you know, every night. And they kind of just turned and kind of like looked at me and say like, are you all right? I was like, yeah, I feel fucking pretty good. You know, and they were like, what are you doing? And I was just like, I'm just going to hang out with you guys. Is that all right? And they were like, yeah, hey, where you been? I was like, meditation class. And they were like, what? And it was just like, you know, they could see the difference in me from just by doing that and just kind of sitting down comfortably, which I should do, you know, like as a point, you know, happiness, a point of happiness within myself. I just felt comfortable to do that. I didn't feel a pressure. I didn't feel like, you know, I was a fucking jittery mess. And I was comfortable to sit there with them and watch TV for a bit, had a chat with them, you know, and then went to bed, and I slept like a fucking log, you know, I fucking slept through the whole night, which was very unusual for me to do. And I woke up the next morning, I was feeling fucking refreshed. I was like, I'm gonna do that meditation stuff. And what ended up happening was I continued to meditate daily for 3 weeks and kept going to this. It was like one session a week for 4 weeks. And I was doing meditation for like the 3 weeks. And by the 3 week point, as I said, I wasn't telling anybody I was going to these classes, and I continued to keep it that way. Football, work site, stuff like that. And what ended up happening was the guys in the building site, people who I actually had really kind of like difficult relationships with, or I found difficult in my workspace, come up to me like, Cam, what are you doing at the moment? Like, you seem to be like really refreshed. You seem to be like, you know, there's a bit of a present shift in you. You know, you seem to just be buzzing. You seem to be a lot happier. I was kind of like, fuck, you guys are noticing it in me. I feel like that. Why the fuck, you know, they can tell that in me, but I still don't feel comfortable to kind of tell them about meditation. I was kind of like, why is meditation not a mainstream thing? Why? Like, I'm literally just kind of sitting there, closing my eyes, taking my attention inwards, and I feel fucking wicked. People are seeing the difference in me. Why the fuck isn't everybody doing this? Like, why is the only answer to someone who's struggling just to take some tablets, you know? And I was kind of like, fuck. And it kind of ignited a little bit of a fire in me to kind of go and explore meditation more. And what ended up happening was I ended up selling everything I owned in Australia, and just moving away from Australia, I moved to the UK. And I've been traveling now for, I think it's coming up to 7 years in July. And like while I was traveling, I had fucking meditation apps. I was going to courses, I was going to classes. When I was going to different cities and stuff like that, I would just drop in and see if there's a meditation class going on. And I was just kind of exploring meditation. I found out that meditation it wasn't just like the Buddhist and like kind of that class that I did. There was so many styles of meditation you could do. And it came from different traditions, lineages, countries, everything, different masters. I was kind of, fuck, this is cool. Like, and I was just exploring it. And yeah, as at some point along my travels, I was kind of like, you know what, fuck it. I'd like to become a meditation teacher. I don't really see, like, I feel like there's so much wisdom that I'm kind of getting from sitting in these classes and learning from like these really notable teachers. but the language that they're using is very flowery and very fluffy and wishy-washy, yeah, hippy-dippy, you know? And I'm kind of like, there's some fucking seriously good knowledge in there. And I was passionate and I loved listening to that, but it wasn't the language that I used. And that's when I was kind of like, there's got to be like a point here. Like, I want to give this shit to my mates, but I can't go to my football team. I can't go to the building site and be like, hey fellas, like, here's, you know, your integrated state of consciousness and, you know, expand out of this. They'd be like, fuck off, mate. Like, you know, that language doesn't land with them. So I was like, oh, fuck it. Why don't I become a teacher? So I studied for 3 years, and that's when I came 2019. I became fully qualified meditation teacher. And yeah, the technique that I teach, Vedic meditation, was kind of the technique that resonated the most with me. I found it the most effortless, and I found it had the most profound experiences. And yeah, that's my nutshell.
No, it's good, mate. It gives everyone a good insight as well. And the reason why you told me part of that story, I never heard some of it. And the reason why I wanted to get you on was because it's had a profound effect on me. I've only been doing it for a short space of time. It allows me, you were just talking about it before, like, for me, you were joking about, I'm a busy guy. Like, I am just like, go, go, go. Constantly. And for me, it's just enough to sit with myself. And it's actually almost like journaling. I've not been journaling as well. That was something that I used. So I've just been using that as like so I just sit and I think it's almost like I piece things together. And like, the biggest thing that I wanted more people to hear was that story, because when I went and I worked with yourself, came and done that 1-to-1 for the 3 days, and we just went over it, it was putting pieces together that I'd tried it. And that was the key thing. I was trying it. I didn't know how to do it because there was so many gaps and am I doing this right? What about this? And what do I need to do? And what that done coming and working with yourself, Cam, was just allowed me to be like, and understand a bit more. And if one person can listen to this story and they're maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't use pills, this is right, this is wrong. It's just to say that like don't let an identity or trying to break something hold you back, because that's the biggest thing I took away from that there. Like the biggest thing that people struggle to change with is stepping into their new identity. Exactly. That's the biggest change people struggle to change with. And it's like, they're not willing to make those changes. You have to go through growing pains. And like, that was your growing pains, was initially the ridicule you didn't want to experience from your colleagues as well. Exactly. We stereotype meditation a lot. Meditation, I always say, it's kind of got like two avenues, you could say, to it. And in the West, we've kind of married this idea that meditation is like a massive stress buster, and it's almost used as a form of therapy, you know. And like, probably 75% of the people who come to learn meditation with me are coming to help. They've heard that meditation helps with their anxiety, they help with insomnia, depression, gut issues, all these different bits and pieces. And we've kind of married this idea in the West that meditation's a form of therapy, whereas in the East, it's still it's like, it's about something completely different. It's about developing states of consciousness and then establishing that point of fulfillment and living within the moment, which is completely different to what we've kind of married this idea in the West. And people are almost kind of like scared of meditation in a way that they're kind of like, oh, everyone's going to think I'm hippy dippy, because that's kind of the Eastern view of meditation. But when you start to actually sit in it and actually learn it properly, that's where you actually start to, as you said there, you shift your kind of perception of it, and yeah, it's a powerful thing to do. I like the term that you use there, using it as a journal, because that is what it is, and a lot of people come to meditation. I can't meditate because I can't switch off my mind, and that's not what meditation's about. Like, we're creating that space to allow our mind to just process and journal in some senses. Your mind is never going to switch off. You're never going to experience because that's funny. Like, I've been sitting in meditations going, when's it going to just stop? Like, then I'm going, wait, I'm actually thinking that. I'm actually thinking that out loud in my head right now. Then I'm like, oh fuck, I'm thinking. Oh, I'm thinking. Oh, now I'm thinking. Then I'm like, then you go, right, okay, chill out. Do my mantra.
Exactly. Come back.
So I've not told anyone, by the way.
Good.
You're not meant to tell anyone your mantra, by the way. Like, that's like a thing. You're not meant to tell anyone.
Yeah,
like,
that's where it keeps its power. So Vedic meditation is very, very different to what a lot of people have learned in the West. In the West, like, the most basic style of meditation you can learn is mindfulness. And that's generally like, the word mindfulness has been fucking so polluted in the West. Like, it's mindfulness fucking dog walking, mindfulness fucking this, mindfulness that. I see mindfulness beer drinking. Like I've seen an ad for that on fucking Facebook, and I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Well,
That's
just get like pure wasted, don't
literally,
they? Some folks say healthy.
yeah. Literally, yeah.
Or what's that mean?
Yeah, literally.
What's that mean? Yeah, I need to eat healthy. You're like,
yeah.
what?
So it gets polluted, the mindfulness, but like this is where Vedic meditation is very, very different. Like, you know, Vedic meditation comes from India, and in Vedic meditation we use mantras. And these, as a fully qualified teacher, I give personalized mantras to my students. And that mantra is purely just a sound. It doesn't have any meaning, and it doesn't have any spelling. It's purely just a sound. You repeat this sound to yourself within the meditation. You never vocalize it. You never write it down. You never share it with anybody, and you keep it internalized, and that's where it keeps its power. And what ends up happening is the mind is so fucking fascinated, especially us in the West. We're fascinated with trying to overcomplicate and intellectualize things. So if we, by saying our mantra out loud, if we've got our eyes open, what the brain does there, it takes a snapshot of what's in front of you and establishes that to the mantra. By writing it down where it has no spelling, has no meaning, you write it down, you'll start questioning yourself, and the brain will go, oh, does it spell this way? Does it spell that way? Am I even saying it right? Is Cam giving me the right one? Likewise, with sharing it with someone, you might go home to your girlfriend or, you know, your parents or whatever it is and say to you know, your partner, I say this little thing in meditation, they might go, what the fuck does that mean? And you the brain will instantly associate their reaction with your mantra, right? But by keeping it,
keep going to laugh because I met Ross last week. Ross and Grant. He went, "What's your mantra?"
What's your mantra? I love it.
He asked me right away, "What's your mantra?"
Yeah.
I told Grant.
I love it.
You've been sitting telling me that, and I've been trying to hold it in, not laughing.
I love it.
Time.
I'm gonna
met
give
Ross, and we were talking about meditation.
Yeah.
I've got Cam on the podcast, and he was like, "What's your mantra?" By the way?
Yeah, I'm gonna get onto him, send him a fucking call. I'm gonna give him a call afterwards. You fucking giving out your mantra. You're out.
You're out, man.
That's it. You're done. But yeah, by keeping the mantra internalized is where it keeps its power, right? What we start to do as we start to practice regularly, you start to have these kind of deeper, more fulfilled experiences within the meditation. And that is what you end up associating with the mantra. So that later down the line, when you have been practicing regularly, you kind of just get to the point where you just kind of close your eyes and just go mantra and just go, drop straight into that state. It's kind of like, you know, the same connection point you have with your bed. You know, like when you get into bed, wrap your duvet over you, you instantly know I'm going to sleep here. Association. Exactly.
It's like a lot of people in lockdown. It was like I totally got the full gym thing. Like I wasn't one of these. I probably went through a phase where I was like, you can just set your living room up as a gym. You associate the gym.
Yep.
With like progress, with growth, with like lifting, with pushing hard and stuff like that. And it's that association, isn't it?
It is very much so, very much so. So yeah, it's but it's a powerful technique, definitely. And it's definitely it's not something that is mainstream in the sense that, you know, you can't put it on an app. You know, you can't teach it online in the sense that, you know, there needs to be that kind of personal touch with your teacher who's gone through that training to give out personalized mantras.
Yeah. There was something that you said when you were talking about basically when you broke your back, and you basically said that you went from obviously being just essentially what I refer to as the story narrative. You were just caught up living this life that was actually bringing you a fucking ton of unfulfillment, bottling everything up, and then it was basically blow a gasket. But see that time, that really reminded me of when you said that, lockdown for a lot of people. Like it was like people just stopped and they went, whoa.
Yep.
And for a lot of people at the time, it seemed horrible because like, and even I bumped into someone the other day, and it's someone that actually works at the coffee shop that I go to all the time. And basically they were basically saying that lockdown for them, because I chat about it all the time. And I think it's a really powerful thing to be grateful for what's something that's actually at the time seems so horrible.
Yep.
But you need to ask yourself, if that didn't happen, how many more years would you have continued to bottle that shit up? And this is something I actually said to one of my clients recently. It's like, when you're being challenged, you need to ask yourself, what is this actually teaching me right now?
Yep.
What can I come away from this? Like, what is this? What? Because the thing is, like, at the time you're telling this story, and it's like, you've probably told it quite a few times. It's glamorized a bit. There's probably maybe some bits that are like, like the sat nav was screaming at me. Like, it was going red. But that's what happens when you tell a story, isn't it?
Of course.
Yeah, it goes, that's just what happens.
Yeah.
But basically, at the time, that was fucking hell.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like, you look back at it and you're like, well, the reason I'm in the life that I'm in now is because of that point there.
Exactly. Yeah, massively. Someone asked me the other day, it was like, you know, do you regret anything in your life? Any points? And I was like, regret, I don't like that word. Like, you know, because if I regret that part, like, you know, that situation has shaped me to who I am right now. And looking back on those, lockdown, looking down and back, breaking my back and getting sober and all the rest of these moments shaped me to who I am right now. And I'm sure fucking definitely going forward, there's going to be a ton more, that are going to shape me into being a better version of myself. And again, that's where a strong meditation practice definitely comes in, because you have this point of, daily to kind of just sit and reflect. And you said mentally journaling, which is super fucking powerful, and needed definitely, because you said there, lockdown, a lot of people just, if that never happened, how long would they have gone until they've like burnt themselves out and fried themselves, because we don't in the West, we're just so like socially and culturally, we're just so fucking hustle. Do you know what I mean? And look externally for things to give us internal fulfillment. And that's where that meditation practice comes in. It's like, taking that time and looking for the fulfillment within. And as having a regular meditation practice, that is where the subtle but seriously fucking fundamental shifts start to happen in people's lives, is because they stop looking externally for the happiness and their fulfillment. And they know they've got it here within themselves, by sitting there, establishing that within themselves, doing the meditation practice, turning the fight or flight response off, bring the stress levels down, and they go about their life. And, that job doesn't define me. If I lose that job tomorrow, that's cool. I can get another job next week, and that relationship doesn't define me. I'm not relying on that person to give me all this happiness and this love, because I've got that within myself, and I can give that to them, and it's, material objects, drink and drugs. So many people use that as well to kind of, I need that.
Yeah, and I think I was having this conversation with my barber this morning, having a deep philosophical chat.
Good old barber chat.
And we were sitting chatting about basically like the world, the way that it is, definitely in Western civilization, Western culture, drugs, alcohol, partying, living for the weekend. It's fucking dangerous, man.
Yep.
Like, and I remember having this conversation with my mate, like 2015, we were hitting it hard, and he went, this is going to have repercussions in years to come. Yep. And I think now we're really starting to see, like, obviously it's always been there. Folk didn't just start partying in 2015.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I feel like now, like, it's like folk are going out, and it's like folk are going out for 3 days. Folk are going out and like just literally snorting cocaine, like, for fun. Like, just it's just they'll get a pint and they get a bag in as well. Yep. That's like the norm.
That is exactly
that's the norm. And like that's like that's having a significant impact on people's life, and folk are trapped into it because they're in circles of people that only do that, and they only know people that do that. And I've had this with a lot of clients that have came from, and there's nothing against it at all, and it's just the world that we live in. And it's so sad when they start to realize that their current life isn't serving them. And I've had that with clients, and it's like you can see it where they realize that my friends aren't actually, if I keep doing this, like I have to, and this is what I say to people. It's like, not just for this example, but I'm like when people are at a point where they're essentially looking externally, they're not looking inwards, they're playing the victim, basically.
Of course,
everyone goes through a state of victimhood. Everyone does. I basically sit them down and I go, right, and I take synapse of where they're at right now, where they were at, and then I go, essentially, what's the difference here? And then they'll start to really see it. And then you go, right, so you've essentially got two futures right now. You can either take action, take ownership, start stepping into the person you want to be, or you can just let this happen.
Exactly, yeah.
And that is and the thing is, I've had folk where they're like, well, I'm just going to let it happen. And that might not be that they're ready to change yet. It might be later down the line when they hit another burnout or another, do you know what I mean? They might just be like, and that's denial.
Exactly.
I mean, that's when someone's in a serious state of denial where you're like...
I think sometimes it takes some people a few chances to do that as well. Sometimes they kind of like, they realize that this is not giving them any fulfillment, and probably like maybe the group that they're hanging around is purely just around drink and drugs, and they're not really friends or, really fulfilling friends or fulfilling relationships around them. And when they actually they become aware of it, and they're like, right, no, I need to step away from this, and they step away from it. And it's, when you do step away from it, it does take a little bit of a transition phase to kind of find the new kind of you, or the new kind of things that you do actually like, because you've spent so long in that phase of your life. And they see that that's kind of uncomfortable, and it's not so, at the beginning of that, it's a bit uncomfortable, and they kind of it's an easy option to just go back to it. And sometimes it takes people to kind of go bounce between the two before they actually kind of take that moment within themselves that they go, you know what, no, I don't deserve this. I need to kind of step into this better version of myself. And it does, Yeah,
it's so hard to break a mindset. I was having this conversation with a client yesterday, and basically they're a coach themselves, they're a new coach, and they're having this challenging time right now where they keep, I basically said, and I said this in a coaching call to my clients the other week, and it's so relevant to life. I said, sometimes people think they're actually playing it safe, but they're actually changing direction.
Yep.
They don't realize that they're like, I'm going to play it safe and do this. And this is the conversation I was having with my client yesterday. I was going, by you doing what you're doing right now, let's start thinking about where this is going to be in months to come. And it was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be good.
Yep.
Like I'm going to burn myself out. I'm going to just be like, I can't do this.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's like, it's when you get someone to really look at the road that they're on, if they keep driving in that direction, what's that going to do?
Exactly.
Like, where's that going to take them to? What's that going to end up in? That's I think the scary thing as well. And it's something that you said to me. I've not experienced it from when I came to you, and it was nothing against like, oh, I'm better than this, but I'd done a lot of personal development. You even said yourself, you're quite a self-aware guy. Like I was telling you about my routines and stuff, and you were like, you're already in a good spot. It was just another string to my bow, and it's massively helped, massively. But something that you told me was really insightful was when you said when you do the group meditation, because I done a 1-to-1, but you said it's not uncommon for people to just cry.
Yep, very much so. Very much so. Like most group courses that I do, I always start that in the group course. You know, I don't say it before we get into the group because everyone will be like, no, I'm fucking not here for it. And I always say that, like, right, guys, be fragile on yourself this weekend. Treat it like a fucking retreat because, you know, you'll get the most from it because you will be fragile and there probably will be tears. You know, I've taught groups of fellas and there's been like bawling their eyes out, you know, and it doesn't need to be a story with it. You know, it's just an emotion that they've been holding on to in that fight or flight mode, you know, suppressing it into their body. Once they come into the meditation and start to relax into it, you know, turn that fight or flight response off, come into this and kind of peel away these layers of stress, it's able to kind of express itself. We can unstress in 3 different ways in meditation: physically, mentally, and emotionally. And this is a kind of like an emotional release of stress, you know. Mental release of stress is having lots of thoughts and mental chatter. Physical releases of stress, just kind of like little twitches.
Yeah, I noticed my fingers and hands sometimes move. I remember you said to me, you were like, and I remember this when I went to therapy, like, it's so funny as well. I've done all these things to develop myself and I end up becoming more realistic, like probably less of an optimist.
Yeah.
I'm very much a realist, but I understand the efforts of hard work and consistency. That's how I know how to be successful at what I choose to pursue. But like, the more I've developed myself, the more I've like invested in coaching, mentoring, therapy, and went into meditation, studied, doing all these different reading books. Like, it's as if I've became a bit more like, life's too short. Like I talk about it all the time. I think about it all the time. And I actually said to you, and I don't do it as much, I was thinking about it too much. I was thinking about, am I doing enough? Like that was the level of overwhelm that I was getting to. And I think that had a big part to play with why my mental health was feeling a bit low at the beginning of the year. But I said to you, I was like, in the weather as well, it was a combination of a lot of different things, pressure at work, different things, like all these different things going on. But I remember like that week, the 2 days after the meditation, I was fucking so low. I was like,
exactly.
Like I was like
shit coming out of your system.
I was like, oh my God. And it was just at that time, so many different pressures on. Like we were going away, we had an event we were running, like Ailey was quitting her job and stuff like that. Like I had goals and targets set for my business, things I wanted to do, my own training. I'm renowned for taking on a lot at once. And it was almost as if that same week, I was just like, fuck man, I'm so low. It's just shit coming out of your system. And it does come with a bit of practice, you know, to learn that kind of almost surrender to it's all going to work out. I've been saying that a lot yesterday. Read the book. I've not read it.
You did read it?
I didn't read it.
No, I haven't read it.
I've just been talking about it.
I love it. So the book that we're talking about, obviously the surrender experiment, and I give that to literally all my students. You know, read the surrender experiment because it's such a fucking powerful book to be able to just kind of like surrender, because we do get so caught up in that kind of like in the moments of things like, oh fuck, that's going to work. Oh, how am I going to do this and that? And we're just so tunnel visioned on everything. And the surrender experiment is just like, just take a little step back, look at the bigger picture, and just trust whatever's going to come into your life, it'll all work out and it'll take you on the right path where you need to be, rather than focusing so much on being like, I need that right now and I need to be there right now. It'll all come at the right time. It does when you take that power into yourself. Fuck. Yeah.
See that month that I came and worked for you in the February, and then we done big impact day with an event, like 100 people at it. We done like all these things going on. I was going away, I was quitting a job. I remember I told you, it was, again, this is me just being open, it was the quietest month I'd ever experienced in business, and the most I'd ever invested in one single month in my business. And Ailey was quitting, and I was going away traveling the next month, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. And see that surrender thing, I was like, I'm just going to surrender to this. Everything's fine.
Exactly.
But that was like at that given point when you were feeling that way. And the reason why I want to say this as well with transparency is like, I've told quite a few coaches that, and they're like, I thought you were fucking killing it. I was like, well, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
doing well, doing good. But like, they were like, I wouldn't have known that. Like, it's just, not that defines you. But what I'm saying is, like, it's still pressure.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When you've, like, it's at the end of the day. And it's funny when people don't see that from the outside. And I think it's good to say these things to be realistic. But like, and I just surrendered, and everyone's absolutely fine.
Always works out.
Everyone was
Fine.
good,
It works
actually.
exactly right.
You know what I mean?
I'm going through the very similar at the moment. I've been self-employed since June last year now, and this is the quietest month I've ever had, and like significantly quieter. And I was kind of like, fuck. And it's easy to kind of just go, right, fuck, change the business, let's do this, let's do that. And I'm just like, just surrender, it'll be fine. And I guarantee next month I'll be fucking flying again. I guarantee it. And it happens. And this is life. Like, you know, you go in these kind of peaks and troughs. Like, there's always going to be these peaks.
Because of Russia.
It's because of Russia, exactly. Yeah. It's like all these kind of peaks and troughs, you know, and it's kind of like, that's just life. And once you start to kind of like take this time in your day to kind of just sit, close your eyes, take your attention inwards, and you actually start to look at the bigger picture in life. You know, you start, rather than being tunnel visioned all the time, turn your perception on. I always say it's like the you know, your iPhone, if you've got two cameras on there, you got like 0.5 and the 1x1 or whatever it is. And sometimes when you go on your camera and you're on times 1, you click the 0.5 and the picture just kind of goes like that. And this is what you're doing in the meditation. You're kind of looking on your life, looking internally, turning that perception on. It's like, woof, okay, shit, chill out. It's going to fucking work out. You know, these things will work out, and the right things will pop up at the right times. And if not, like, you know, I'll go through this and I will learn these lessons, you know, and that will make a better version of me in the long run. It's the peaks and troughs of life, you know, they happen all the time.
And it's funny as well, the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like folk think, like, I say it to clients when they're like stressing about something really simple.
Yep.
And I'm like, you're going to be more stressed when you get an injury 4 weeks out from a marathon.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll test you.
Yeah. Yep.
You're going to be like, it's like when you're like, it's people think that, it's like, once I do this, and you're like, it's never going to go away. But what happens is, as you grow, is your level of contribution, return, level of insight, conversation, what you get to do on a weekly basis improves, but also the problems get bigger as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They
so
do, definitely.
It's just being able to manage the expectations around that as well.
Massively. Yeah.
So mate, I was interested to talk about like actually studying to become a meditation. I remember, so when I started, Cam sung a song to me, and obviously Vedic meditation. This is the thing about this meditation. It's like, what I really liked about it is you taught me the Western. Like, you didn't make it flowery and wishy-washy, which made me go, right, not that I didn't value it at that, but I'd be like that wouldn't really be, see if someone was telling me to go and do X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, that doesn't really fit in with my day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if I can take parts of it that are going to allow me to still be part of it, not take, like, make it my own or that at all, but because I was asking you things, what if I'm hungover?
Yeah.
Like, what if I've had a drink? And you're like, let's do it.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
Like, if I've been, like, it's just.
Did it feel better after?
Yeah, it was all right, yeah. Like, cold shower, meditation, good way to get rid of a hangover.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Beats, you know, a Domino's and a fucking iron brew.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know. Cure me.
So yeah, my training. So I studied for just short of 3 years to become a Vedic meditation teacher. So I went and learned, you know, Vedic meditation very similar to the way you did over 3 days, and kind of like learned the technique. And I was kind of like, shit, this is pretty good. You know, did it for a little while, jumped straight into a week-long retreat. And then I was kind of like, you know, fuck it, yeah, I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna like study for this one. So I did. My first year was like spread over 11 months, and that was like weekend courses regularly, and studying. And then my second part of the year was again 11 months, called the mastery. So it was like Vedas, mastery, and then I also did a second mastery with another teacher for 6 months. And then I launched myself into like obviously teacher, and while doing this, I'd bucket load of meditation retreats. And the final qualification was obviously my teacher qualification, and that was 3.5 months of meditating up to 15 hours a day. It's like a slow build up to the 15-hour points, hold it for a little bit, and then start to peter off a little bit.
15 hours a day. Like, just so everyone heard that, 15 hours of sitting with yourself.
Yeah, and this
that frightens me.
Yeah, it was intense, very, very intense. You know, you completely switched off from the outside world, and you know, and that little sing song that you've mentioned there, I was also learning that.
How long does that last?
That lasts about roughly 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes.
Cam actually sung me a song that took 5 minutes.
Yeah, in a different language.
In a different language, it's actually unbelievable.
So for those who are probably thinking, what the fuck's that all about? So that's a puja. And a puja is a traditional ceremony which comes from India, and this is where Vedic meditation comes from. And very similar to like it's a ceremony of paying respect to the past teachers who have passed Vedic meditation on for thousands and thousands of years. And pretty much what I'm singing is I'm saying to them, thank you for giving me this technique. Here's some fruits and flowers as offerings of a means of exchange, and now I'm passing on to Kristian. There's and it's a ceremony of gratitude and respect. And the best way I can kind of describe it is kind of similar to like a boxer or a fighter, you know, before they step into the ring or onto the mat, they bow their head in respect for the past fighters who have been on there. Or maybe being at school assembly when you're a kid, you know, before the assembly starts, everyone sings the national anthem.
It's tradition, isn't it?
It's tradition, you know, that we don't view that as kind of like, ooh, what's this? You know, we just do it, you know. And in India, where their culture and their society is very, very different, theirs is a puja. And when Vedic meditation really started to become popularized within the West, you know, it wouldn't be very respectful for white folk to just kind of fucking kick about and not pay respect to where it's come from. It's been around for thousands of years. So to pay respect to the technique, you know, I had to learn how to do a puja. And yeah, it's effectively a 5-minute song in Sanskrit, which is effectively a dead language, but it's a fucking tongue twister, man.
Yeah.
it's you know, it's tough. But I was learning that as well as doing obviously the 15 hours of meditation a day. And obviously the question that always comes with that is, how did you sleep? But like when you're doing 15 hours a day, like 2-3 hours of meditate, 2 hours of sleep, like, you know, tip top, you know, bang, ready to go, because you're spending 15 hours a day sitting on your ass, you know, in that state where you are very, very, very recharged.
Yeah. So. And it goes, you said as well to me during that, you were like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Some of it was bored. Yeah. I am bored.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Like in the 15 hours of it, you know, probably like, probably like 7 hours of the day, very much just like, like what's going on here. But then I might be like, for the next 3 hours, I might be tripping off my face. Do you know what I mean? And the next one be like falling asleep. Do you know
I fell asleep in one with when we done it in your office. I fell asleep in one. And then another one, it was one of my first meditations. It nearly blew my head off, man. I was thinking about also, I've not really had that though. I think when you meditate with someone else, you definitely like, so especially someone like yourself that's been an instructor that does it. That's like that's what you do. I've not experienced any other meditations like that. Definitely. Group in-person group meditations are almost so much more powerful. And it's kind of, it comes back to that, you know, your energy around you, you know, your brain waves, your physical energy. We've got like an aura, which is arm's length beside us, above us, and 6 feet below us. And like, you know, you're kind of sitting in a chair, you can kind of feel the energy of somebody else. Like if someone's sitting on this couch right next to me and they're in a really fucking shitty, grumpy mood, I'm going to feel that. Do you know what I mean? And like, if you get a bunch of people to sit around and get into this really chilled fucking state, that's going to be amplified by like times 10 of the people in there. So listen to music, you know, like you can listen to music by yourself. Yeah, fucking, it gives you a good buzz. But you go to a gig, whoo, fuck. Yeah, you're just bouncing. Do you know what I mean? And so that's what it's like. So, I used to hear that aura and I used to be like, nah, load of rubbish, man. But see, when you think about it, like, see now, like I'm a pretty positive person, pretty like not like when people see me, maybe like right now, I'm like Kristian turned up to 10. Do you know what I mean? Like when I'm delivering a podcast, when I'm chatting, when I'm showing up my stories, I'm not always like that.
Of course.
You're deliberately doing that. You're not pretending to be someone, but you need to. If I just turned up to social media, like fucking as if I just scraped myself out my bed, man, nobody would watch me.
Of course.
Like, yeah, exactly. Who is this guy?
Yeah, I'm not paying out for anything he's offering.
Bed
exactly.
Hair. Bed hair and like biscuits in my face. But yeah, like energy, I always say energy breeds energy. And like I can tell from obviously the people I connect with, the people who I'm around. I'm lucky enough to have a girlfriend, a partner that's so into like just like looking after herself, good energy. And don't get me wrong, we still have, we're not perfect by any means. Like it's you're not exempt from that. But see now, when someone is genuinely quite pessimistic, quite negative, I feel it.
Of course.
I just tell folk now.
Exactly. You become much more you know, amplified, and you definitely feel it. Definitely.
I recently said to my mate, and he was messaging me on Instagram, and he was just moaning about something, and he said that a few times in a row, and I went, "What's your fucking problem, man?" I was like, "Stop doing that." Like, there's like, and don't get me wrong, there's gonna be times when you moan and you bitch about things, and you say something about someone or whatever, but just constantly, like, you really, really can feel, and you can definitely feel as well. Like my mentor that I work with right now went over to Northern Ireland and I was at Massive Action Day in Power Room Day, 2 days there. And then Lewis was like, have you met Phil before? I've only met him on Zooming and stuff like that. He's like, he's got a great energy about him, and he fucking does.
Yeah.
That's why the guy's so successful.
Yep, definitely.
He's got a level of energy around him, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's definitely a thing, and you need to feed off other people, and it's magnetic. It really is.
Definitely. And this is maybe where the like Eastern view of meditation comes in. Like, you know, when someone's like that, you know, a negative energy and maybe like struggling, giving them compassion, giving them that kind of, you know, being empathetic to them and understanding that, you know, potentially you were at that point at some point, and, you know, whatever they're reflecting a point within themselves. You know, maybe they're negative about something, but maybe they're really struggling within themselves, and they maybe haven't got that fulfillment. And that's where we, as, you know, being established within that state of consciousness, be able to kind of give that back to them, you know, but rather than them kind of like vampiring off you and kind of like draining that from you, giving it to them and being a little bit more like a bit like a lighthouse for people in that sort of sense, is the best way I can, like, best metaphor or analogy I can kind of give to that is like, you know, having that fulfillment within yourself and being that kind of integrated state of consciousness, standing there as a bit of a lighthouse. And when people come to you and are kind of very moany, very negative, kind of just guiding them the right way as a lighthouse would do. It'd shine them through the light from the darkness, rather than, kind of getting caught up in all their shit and kind of being dragged down with them. Be that lighthouse and show them the way.
I talk about energy all the time, and I talk about it. And it's funny that I have spoke about it for a while, and it's like, but I've never spoke about it in the way like aura or like the 6 foot down, 6 foot. I'm just talking about like, you can't go for like, I watch like how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And if you're going about things with shite energy, like where else are you going to be doing that? And it's like the thing I always say to everyone, like, are you turning up or are you turning up? Like, and it's a difference. And folk can go like, I'm always watching, I'm always observing. Even when I'm in the gym, there's people that go to the gym, they're in there every single time when I'm there, but they're not seeing results. And I'm not like literally judging these people.
Of course.
Probably kind of am by saying that. It's naturally going to, like, see when folks say they don't judge people, talking shite, everyone judges everyone, right?
Yeah,
but like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just observing as a coach. And naturally, you're going to observe people's state of consciousness because you're a meditation instructor.
Yeah, of course,
So if you can see that someone's jittery, not noticing, that's going to stand out to you. So when I'm in the gym and I see someone, and that's the difference. It's like, and I always talk about inside PLU, like, how can I boost your energy? What can we do in a day in order to do it? And it's things that when people come in, and I'm like, right, you're going to get your phone away at 8:30 at night. And they're like, why is this PT telling me to do this? And this is maybe something that already hits the gym to do this. And then we start tweaking all these wee parts. I'm like, right, where's your caffeine intake like right now? And they're like, oh, well, what do you mean? I've not really thought of that, right? So we'll get a bit of awareness on that. I want you to try and cut that off about 2 or 3, right? And then just limit yourself there. And then it's like making sure that you're communicating the right things to the right people, setting targets. All of a sudden, they're like, nothing's really changed in the gym. But their energy in the other 23 hours is just so boosted, and they feel so liberated. Then you start looking at nutrition, then you start... And it's looking at those other 23 hours to boost that 1 hour.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
you know what I mean?
I like that. I like that. Yeah, definitely.
How can we lift up your energy? How can we make it magnetic? And then it's like just consistently looking at like, and I work with a lot of people that are business owners, professionally driven people, that their job requires a lot of energy. So then it's like making them aware that like the tasks that you're doing, like there's like, say in a week, one of my clients said this to me once, he was like, something I've noticed about successful people, Kristian, is that they might not necessarily do loads of work, but the work that they do is so potent. It's so fucking like, but I was like, and the other week I had like a lot of rip my business to bits, redone loads of videos, and the videos that I'm recording are like me shouting at the camera, basically delivering energy. Do you know what I mean? And that takes out of me. And in that same week, I had people come onto the program. I had to then get them set up. I also had people that I was kind of helping that had feel like in a bit of a rut and stuff, which again required energy from me. And it came to Thursday, and I just went like that in my day, wrote it off, and went, I'm just doing that one thing today. It was last Thursday. I went, I'm not doing a podcast, not this. My energy was tanked. And that's awareness, understanding that. And that's almost like people are like, they think it's at this point, I just need to lose 2 stone. I just need to do this. I just need to get to here. And you're like, in your mind, you're like, you're not going to get there, and that's going to be it. It's a constant reiteration of like, where's my energy at? Where's my standards at? Like, where am I not doing enough? Where have I felt short? Folk just get caught up like, well, I'm doing this. And they're caught up in delivery.
Exactly.
Going through the motions.
As you said, the 23 hours of the day. What are they actually doing?
What are they doing? They're just telling you the touch points there. And it's probably the same way. You told that to me as well. Like you said that to me about the meditation. You're like, there'll come a point, Kristian, where you'll hit a plateau with your meditation. I haven't really.
Yeah.
'Cause
You still, I think, what are you, 2 months in now?
Yeah.
2 months in?
So
I would say, so give you another 6 weeks, you'll probably hit it.
Yeah.
So it's the infamous like 3-month plateau, I call it. And it's kind of like where people are just practicing regularly. They kind of get to that point where their practice has become like, it was such a new thing and it was cool and they were like, they're enjoying it, but it's now got to that point where it's kind of a little bit mundane, and all those kind of benefits that they were getting in the early days have now just become the norm, and they're kind of just like, they're just kind of baselined for a little bit. And it's just kind of coming back to the principles, and it's kind of coming back to the fundamentals, of the foundations of their practice. Just do the simple things right, and you'll be buzzing again, because we just get so kind of like, I'm sure you see this at the gym, like, people going to the gym, lifting weights, and they kind of just get so comfortable lifting that 12 kg dumbbell that it's not really doing anything for them now. But, the next step for them would be to kind of bump up to the 14 kg dumbbell, but they're just so comfortable doing that. It's just become like, I'm just going through the motions now, but you got to progressively get better, haven't you?
100%, man. So see it with like meditation as well, and I think this is something that's just interests folk. You mentioned I've mentioned it blowing your head off. You said about tripping. Like, talk about like the sort of trip. I've not really experienced dead trippy, but like I think a lot of folk are always chasing highs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
To talk about, I want to hear a bit about that to like interest more people into getting zen.
So literally like the most profound kind of experiences I've had within meditation, words wouldn't even get close to it. Like, and like I've met some people who've been like monks, lived as monks, and been meditating longer than I've been alive. And the words never kind of express. It's more of a feeling and an experience that you have, and it doesn't matter how much you kind of tell people. You can use all the words, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, sounds good." No, but you don't understand. Like, this is what happened, and they're like, "Yeah, cool, sounds cool." You tripped, or you had this cool, profound experience. Yeah, but no, you don't understand, because it's like, it's a feeling within yourself, and it's something that you can't give to anybody else, and you can't share it around. It's just purely within yourself, and that's it. That's really fucking powerful to have. I'll definitely try to put it into words. Some of like the most profound experiences that I've had, and it varies for everybody. Everybody's experience of these things that happen in meditation is very, very different. You can have all sorts. You can transcend the sense of sight, which is being very like visual within your meditation. You can have like maybe it's colors washing in, maybe it's faces, maybe it's like literally watching a fucking movie in your head, while you're sitting in this meditation state. You can have experiences within the sense of touch, transcend the sense of touch, where your body feels very heavy, your body feels very, very light, your body's completely tingling. It feels like your body's expanding or shortening. It's like these different profound experiences that you can have. They're probably like the most common.
I've had that. I've had where I felt like my body was actually like going pulsing.
Yep. Yeah.
And I was actually, that's just not nice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yep. So they're probably kind of like the most not basic, but the most, they're the most ordinary you can have, and anybody can have those. When I was kind of like doing 15 hours of meditation a day, my most profound experience actually happened when I was outside of a meditation. I'd just done, I think it was like a 14-hour day, and come to the end of it. And to be honest, like a 14 hours of meditation was pretty, just ordinary. I just went through the 14 hours, and there was moments where it was kind of trippy having those kind of experiences. And it wasn't until I actually came out of the meditation and I felt, normal. And I remember coming down the stairs from where my room was and stepping out, and it was in Indonesia, in Bali, and there was like a rice paddy field. And I literally kind of just stood there, and it's kind of like, it was like a moment where it kind of just, everything just switched on. And it was like, literally I could feel like every fucking blade of grass within that rice field, and I could literally hear every bug. I could feel like the wind kind of like, it felt like I was connected to everything in that sense. And I felt like, using that kind of tunnel vision, opening perception up as an analogy, that was like that amplified by fucking like 100. And it literally felt like everything was just, I could feel everything moving around me. It was like a full out of body experience.
Integration.
Yeah, very much so. Even maybe more so higher than that as well. A connection with literally everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just like talking about that kind of energy, touch, someone could be sitting here and you can feel their energy. I could feel energy with literally fucking everything around me.
Frog.
Literally a fucking frog. Yeah, like the sunlight, the moonlight coming off, like, the water, the bugs, literally everything. And it was just like, wow. Yeah. And I remember like from there, like I was by myself, walking into an area where we're like, the other people that I was doing the teacher training with, having dinner, and they already just started eating, and they kind of just walked in, and like as soon as I walked into the room, they all kind of just like turned, like my presence had literally kind of just like taken their attention, like unconsciously they kind of like felt the need to kind of like turn to me where mid conversation, and they're like, holy fuck. They were like, are you okay? And I was like, I feel fucking wicked. And they were just like, they were like,
your own supply.
Literally. And they were like, your pupils are like fucking dinner plates. And I was like, I fucking feel like it. I felt like ecstasy. Like it was like ecstasy without the
Campo.
Yeah, Campil, yeah, internal Campil. Fucking loved it. It was like it was like ecstasy without the haziness or the buzziness. Like I still had that, but it didn't. It was a clarity about it. And it lasted.
You're gonna get loads of folk. Fucking, you're gonna have a
yeah,
big month, man. You're gonna have a big month soon, mate, after this podcast.
Gonna put fucking Sub Club out of business. Yeah, no. So I had. Yeah, it was just a truly profound experience to happen, and it lasted like honestly like 8 hours. And I was just like, yeah, I felt like a little kid, just fucking on cloud nine. And that's the words that doesn't even scratch the fucking surface of what I was truly experiencing. And yeah, just from there, like the experiences, as I said, like coming outside of the meditation, it's always kind of like having a bubble. I feel like I've got like some bubble around me. It's kind of like unfuckable with, like, no one can come up and pop the bubble. Like everything they can throw as much shit as they want, but that just bubble just around me and just kind of bounces off the bubble. And I'm saying, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
One of the other truly profound experiences I had was again outside of a meditation after leaving a meditation retreat for a week. And it was in I finished a meditation retreat and caught the train into London. And it was London, Victoria. And if anyone's been to London, Victoria, it's like fucking notoriously chaotic. Like people fucking everywhere, loud and everything. And like trying to walk in a straight line in London, Victoria is like difficult. Like you're gonna get stopped and pushed and whatever else. And I literally felt like the fucking like Messiah, like the water just kind of split it. And it was like the crowd just split it. And I was just walking with my fucking suitcase. It's like, what the actual fuck is going on here? It's just like people just moving out of the way for me. And I just, again, like that bubble. And I was like, holy fuck, like I feel fucking wicked here. And that's from doing that meditation.
Yeah. And then there's sometimes where you're doing it and you're just sitting there going, oh, when's this going to be over?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not on that level. I'm talking about it as if, yeah, man, I know. I'm in a campo as well, man. Every day this morning.
Yeah, but again, like that's viewed as a very productive meditation. Like sitting there and taking that time for yourself. Like there's lots of thoughts going on. You're thinking about when the meditation is going to end. You're just allowing this shit to kind of come up from your surfaces.
That's
a
something
mental
that you said
unstressing.
To me. Yeah, you said to me, it really stuck. And you were like, any meditation is better than none. And if that's even happening. And the thing that I always think is like, as if I'm plugging my head into the Matrix.
Yeah, yes,
to deload.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And when I've had a big day, or I've had a lot on, or I've taken work on it later, I usually don't work past 8 max.
Yeah, yep.
And if I've done that, I always know that it's going to impact my quality of sleep. And that meditation in the morning is just like just because I'm thinking about so many things that I should have said that, I could have done this, need to that. And it's just like...
Exactly, yeah. A lot of people think that we come to meditation, we're like, oh, I can't meditate because I can't clear my mind. Well, you're never going to clear your fucking mind, right? But we meditate to have that clarity outside of the meditation. So a lot of people are looking for that clarity within the meditation, and it does come up from time to time, but having a very like thought-filled meditation is actually clearing the way so that when you come out of your meditation, that you've got that clarity of mind. You've allowed the mind to do that processing within the meditation. It's kind of like having a laptop. You got 20 tabs open. The laptop's going to be lagging, it's going to be jumping, and there's probably music playing from somewhere and a virus fucking ad popping up at you, and everything's going on. Meditation's like sitting there, just closing all the tabs, closing the music, closing the virus tab off. And then once you've done that, the laptop starts working again. And that is you doing the meditation. Our brains are just constantly, not surprisingly for you, because you've got so much going on, you're creating all these tabs, opening tabs, left, right, and center by doing all these different jobs. When you actually sit down to do the meditations, you're just kind of closing their tabs, And then when you come out of the meditation, your mind feels clearer. And that's exactly the reason we meditate. We meditate to have that clearer mind outside of meditation.
I value that. That's the thing that I value of it. And it gives me more creativity, more thought processing. It allows me to, the way I see it is like, imagine like my mind, I'm just putting bits of the puzzle together.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just like connecting it all together.
Exactly.
That's the way that I see it.
Yeah. Yep.
So see, one of the things you said there about transcendence as well. And I know that you'd mentioned before about like, you mentioned to me about when you do your first meditation, I didn't face you. Because the reason for it, when you usually open your eyes, you're in that state where you're like a bit, like nice and relaxed, chill. Like you mentioned before as well, like this isn't a cult.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. So always make that clear on day one, like especially when I'm fucking singing a sing song in a different language to people, and it's like this picture of these gurus, and I'm like, there's two things. Number one, you're not joining a cult, and number two, this is not religious. But yeah, the reason I teach on day one in a kind of like, so we're not sitting directly looking at each other like we are now, there would be like an angled, so that actually when you open your eyes after meditation, because you're in this what we call the afterglow of meditation, and literally you kind of open your eyes and you're feeling really glowy, and you're kind of like, whoa, what's everything's going on? And if you've kind of got me sitting right there, you're going to establish that feeling that you're having as me, right? Yeah. And this is where those kind of culty shit happens. Like, we all know about cults, and there's definitely meditation cults out there that, and gurus that are taking the piss out of that, and they you'll see them sitting up higher than everybody, because unconsciously that's them looking up to them. So unconsciously that's tricking their mind to think that they need to look up to this very particular manipulation. Exactly, and they're all kind of glossed up, and they've got all these fucking fancy things around them, and people are looking up to them, and then when they do the meditation, they're looking up to these gurus or these cult leaders or whatever they are.
I've seen that one in Oregon.
Yeah, is that a Bikram one? There's a few.
That documentary was insane. Yeah, I cannot believe he done that. Yeah. He was having like orgies with them.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Again, that's where it kind of comes to. It's like, they look up to it. It's like manipulating, it's brainwashing in some senses.
He was a multi-millionaire because the people that he manipulated, he had lawyers, doctors.
Yep.
Like, it's like Tom Cruise style, that thing that he does. That
Scientology. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where it's like, hope there's no Scientologists watching now. I don't know any Scientologists off the top of my head. It's big in America, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge in America. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Definitely comes with that, and I'm very conscious about trying to do that. And I always say that to people: please don't put me on a fucking pedestal. Like, I'm a meditation teacher, and I can teach you meditation. But again, like, still, I have the same fucking problems that you do. But like, I've learned through my travels and with meditation to help me. Like, I've put the tools in my toolbox to kind of deal with these problems. It doesn't make me like I don't get those fucking problems, because I fucking do, and I'm definitely not a fucking guru in any sense. I mean, guru is not like we've. Again, popularized this word in the West. Guru literally just means teacher. Like, you'd be a fucking guru and teaching in a school in India. Like, guru just means teacher. So I in some senses, I am a fucking guru. But it's
this is the cult stuff.
That's it, exactly.
It's been brainwashing you all, man. You're all gonna join his program.
That's it. I'll give you a secret word and do a sing song for you.
We'll do a separate podcast after this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, mate, it's been a good chat today. Just to kind of round it off, man, what's the plans for Cam, in regards to the future? I know you do a lot of charity work as well.
Yes, so I will be doing more charity work again this year, later in the year. I do a lot for Movember. So definitely I've got something pretty fucking cool lined up for November for this. It's going to involve a lot of meditation. Right. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Last year I walked from Glasgow to Edinburgh, Manchester to Liverpool, and then all around London, created a big team. We raised a lot of money for Movember. Movember has a very, a point within my heart. It's very close to my heart. My big cousin, Seamus, committed suicide this time last year, and Movember for men's mental health, it's very close to me. So I'd done a lot of charity work previous to that, but Movember's definitely got a soft point for me now. So I'm going to continue to do this every year. This year, I'm going to, again, create a big team, but it'll be about meditation, this one, rather than walking from city to city and kind of busting my ass with that and trying to get miles in. It'll be a lot of meditation, and I've got something quite cool lined up. I just need to kind of, put the early works in to make it. But yeah, it'll be a couple of days of meditation. Let's put it that way.
That'll be good.
But that'll come together. Few retreats on the go. I've started doing retreats out on the west coast of Scotland at the moment, so I'll get a few more of those happening.
I want to do one of them.
Yeah, the last one was fucking magnificent. Like, just this meditation dome on the top of a mountain, overlooking the ocean, and
Cam's on a big pedestal.
That's it. Yeah, Cam's on a big pedestal. Exactly. I'm on top of the mountain. Yeah, no, that was fucking wicked. So I'm going to do a few more of those. And I'd like to do, by the end of the year, residential retreats, in the sense that it's like, come to a retreat, really nice location, Friday night, phone goes off, and you just meditate for 10 hours a day till next Friday. Yeah, I like to do a week-long retreat for folk. So yeah, and just continuing to do bits and pieces, more traveling, and continue to do bits and pieces for myself, personal growth as well. So yeah, it's all come together, man.
Brilliant, mate. It's been absolutely incredible to have you on. For anyone that obviously wants to find you, where can they find you on socials?
Yep. So Instagram is the easiest one. Cam Cooney meditation, just on there, and website and everything from that. You know, once you're in one place with social media, you'll find everything else. So Cam Cooney meditation, the easiest place to find me.
Incredible, mate. But thank you very much for coming on. It's been an absolute blast. And guys, if you could, please share it. This will be going up onto YouTube, and it will also be going on to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all your usual streams. If you could rate it, I don't even know how to rate a podcast, but if you could do that, that'd be phenomenal, please, because that'll be good for my rating, and then that'll bring it
Very
up.
good.
Yeah. So guys, if you could, please screenshot it, tag us both in it, share it to your stories, share the message. If you really took something from this, pass it on to someone else. I'd appreciate it. But guys, hope you're having a fantastic day. Catch you in a bit. Goodbye.
I was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on the gas, never stop competing. If you break my glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change.